This is the translation homework. Directions say write an equation to represent the in and out boxes below. I think you guys are going to be able to figure out the patterns in those first three. I'll just do number 4 with you because it's set up a little bit different. So what we're trying to figure out is what do we do to the x value to get the y value? So what do I do to a 1 to get 5? Well, since the number goes from small to big, that means I'm either adding or multiplying. So let's try adding. To go from 1 to 5, I could add 4 each time. Does that work here? Is 2 plus 4 10? And that's not going to work. So my pattern's not adding 4, so now I'm going to try multiplication. So 1 times 5 is 5. Is 2 times 5 10? Yes, it is. 3 times 5, 15? Yes, so my pattern is working. So to fill in that missing box, I'd have to do 5 times 5, which would be 25. So to turn that into an equation, I'm going to say I'm going to take whatever x value I have, I'm going to multiply it by 5, and that will give me my y value. All right, let's jump down to some of these word problems. Now the directions here are different than the directions in each of the questions. So Ms. Flood wants us to write 2 different equations, and then we're just going to solve one. So we're going to write 2 equations and solve one for all of these. So number 1 says, Vincent and some friends share the cost of some blank CDs. The package costs $24 and each person contributed $6. Write and solve 2 different equations that can be solved using inverse operations that can be used to figure out how many people split the cost. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. Our variable is coming right from here. It's the number of people that split the cost of the CDs. Okay, so that's what I'm going to write down. My variable is the number of people that split the cost. Okay, so a couple different ways that I can write this. One equation I can write is the total, which is $24, divided by how much each person contributed, which was $6. That would tell me how many people split the cost. There's one equation. Another way that I could write it is the number of people times the $6 each one of them contributed would give me the total of 24. So you could write either one of those, and I'm going to solve this one because that's the easiest one set up. 24 divided by 6 would be 4. So the number of people would be 4. I'm going to make sure I write my answer as 4 people. That's what we were looking for. Let's go to the back. Number 3, a jewelry store is selling a set of 4 pairs of gemstone earrings for $58, including the tax. Neva and 3 of her friends want to buy the set so they can each have 1 pair. Write and solve. We're not going to solve 2, but we're going to write 2 equations and solve one. That's going to help us to figure out how much each person should buy. Okay, so this is number 3. So here's what I know. I'm trying to find X, which is how much each person should pay. Okay, so in order to figure that out, there's a couple different ways I could write it. I could take the total, $58, and I know there's 4 friends. If I do that, that's going to tell me how much each should pay. Or I could write an equation, 4 friends are each going to pay this much money, and the total is going to be $58. And I'll set those up for you, and then you guys can solve. So let's go right to number 4. The weight of an object on the moon is 1/6 that of the weight on Earth. If an object is 35 pounds on the moon, write and solve 2 different equations using inverse operations that can be used to find the weight on Earth. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for number 4. I'm looking for the weight on Earth. That's my x value. So what I could do is I could write my equation as 1/6 of the weight on Earth is going to equal 35 pounds. That's one equation we could set up. From that equation, we could change it and write 35 times 6 would give us the weight on Earth. We could also write the weight divided by 6 would be 35 pounds on the moon. Okay, and I'll let you figure out which one of those is easiest for you to solve. Let's take a look at number 5. Chen is buying a ham. He wants to divide it into 3-ounce servings for 12 people. Write and solve equations that can be used to find out what size ham you should buy. Well, that's what we're looking for. So that's our x. Size of ham Chen should buy. That's what we're looking for. So a couple different equations we could write for that. We could say, well, I'm going to take that total weight of the ham and divide it into 3-ounce pieces, and that's going to be enough for 12 people. So that'll help me find that. Or I could say, well, there's 12 people and each person is getting a 3-ounce piece. So what would that be for a total weight? Okay, and you pick the one of those that you want to solve. All right, let's go down to number 6. 1/3 of a bird's eggs hatched. 2 eggs hatched. Write and solve the 2 different equations that can be used to find how many eggs the bird had. Well, we're looking for our x is the number of eggs the bird laid. Okay, we know 1/3 of those eggs hatched, and they told us that's equal to 2 because 2 eggs hatched, it said right here. So that's one equation we could write. Let's see. Another equation is we could say x divided by 3 equals 2. The way that I can write that is because 1/3 x really means x over 1. So if I multiplied 1 times x, I get x. And 3 times 1 in the denominator is 3. So we could write that same thing like this. So if I solved, that's still the same as saying 2 times 3 equals x. Because if I were to solve this, it's like multiplying by 3 to this side, multiplying by 3 to this side. Your x is 6, which would give us the same answer there. Hopefully that helped. There's one question, number 2 up at the top. Hopefully you can give that one a try by yourself. Remember, you're just writing 2 equations and just solve one.